Welcome to my class. Today we see salts. I think already you have come across the word salts. What are salts? Salts are the products obtained in various types of chemical reactions. Various types of chemical reactions. Suppose I take an example for various types of chemical reactions. I take neutralization reaction. It is a reaction between acid and base. That is called, it is forming salted water. This is called a neutralization reaction. It's a type of chemical reaction in which salt is formed. Second one I take an acid and react the acid with a metal. We get a salt plus hydrogen gas is liberated. Like this we have a number of chemical reactions in which we are getting the formation of salts, right? And now I tell you the general definition for salts. What are salts? Salts are the chemical substances, or they are the chemical compounds. When you dissolve this in water, it is a general definition for salt. It is a common definition. I am not telling you all the salts are soluble in water. Generally, salts are the compound. When you dissolve salt in water, they dissociate to form a cation, that is positively charged ion, and anion, it is negatively charged ion. Cation other than H plus ion, anion other than OH minus ion. If a compound is giving cation H plus in water, that is called acid. A compound in water giving OH minus ion as anion, that is called base. But salts are the compounds which dissociates in water to give cation other than H plus and anion other than OH minus. For an example, I take here sodium chloride. It's a salt. When you dissolve this in water, what happens? Here it splits, it forms Na plus and Cl minus. Some salts may give, with addition to the cation, it may give H plus also. Such type of salts are called acid salts. Some salts are there. Suppose I take sodium hydrogen carbonate. Sodium hydrogen carbonate. Suppose I dissolve this in water. What happens to the sodium hydrogen carbonate? Here it gives out H plus ion with addition to Na plus and CO3 2 minus. So I say it is called acid salt. It is called acid salt. What are acid salts? These are the salts which give H plus ion as one of the cation. That is called acid salt. Suppose if I take basic salt, magnesium hydroxy bromide, I dissolve this in water. What happens to this? It is giving OH minus ion plus magnesium 2 plus ion plus I take Br minus ion. It is Br minus ion. This is. So it is giving which one here means OH minus ion. So I say it is called basic salt. Basic salts. So acid salt, basic salts. Or we may say what are called acid salts. Some other definitions also there. First we see now what are salts. Right. Now what is given in CBSE in 10th standard level. What is the definition for salt and some examples for salt we take. Some examples for salt I take. That is given at page number, it is 28. Page number at 28 in CBSE book, and content is 2.4. This is 2.4. Page number 28, 2.4 in 10th standard book. Some example for salt is given. Potassium sulfate. I write potassium sulfate. K2SO4. Sodium sulfate. It is sodium sulfate. It is Na2SO4. That is sodium sulfate. Calcium sulfate. CaSO4. and magnesium sulfate MgSO4. Then we go for a sodium chloride NaCl. We go for copper sulfate CuSO4. Now you come to that here. These are the examples for salts. Why we say these are salts? But when they dissociate in water, it's giving cation and anion. Cation and anion. It is 2K plus SO4 2 minus. But it is giving, other than H plus ion, it gives K plus and SO4 2 minus. When I dissociate this, it gives Na plus SO4 2 minus. It is 2 Na plus. That is, here it is calcium sulfate. It is calcium 2 plus SO4 2 minus. Here this is magnesium 2 plus sulfate 2 minus. Sodium chloride, it is Na plus, it is giving Cl minus. Copper sulfate, it is copper 2 plus SO4 2 minus. Don't think 2 sodium ions are there, but I have written Na plus. When it dissociates, it gives Na plus. But if you want, you can go for here 2 Na plus. If you want, you can go for here 2 K plus. It gives potassium ion and sulfate ion, sodium ion and sulfate ion, calcium ion and sulfate ion, magnesium ion, sulfate ion, sodium ion, chloride ion, copper 2 plus ion and sulfate ion. You see, suppose I take an example, potassium sulfate. Potassium sulfate. Now if I want to know this potassium sulfate is formed from what base and what acid. It is formed from what base and what acid, because we say mostly commonly salts are formed by the reaction of acid and base. So it is obtained from what acid, what base. To know that, I write here OH and here H. H combines with SO4 and it is forming H2SO4. It forms H2SO4. OH minus and potassium, it combines and it becomes potassium hydroxide. So it is the salt obtained from potassium hydroxide and sulfuric acid. But you see, both these you compare, it is strong acid. It is a strong base. What are strong acids? These are the acids which undergo complete dissociation. What are strong bases? These are the bases which undergo complete dissociation. That is called strong base. Suppose I take one more example. Ammonium chloride. Ammonium chloride. Here, it is formed from which acid and which base? So you put OH minus this side, H plus this side. Anion part you put H plus, cation part put OH. That these two combine and it forms ammonium hydroxide, and this one HCl. HCl. It is strong acid. It is strong base. So strong acid HCl and it is strong base. So when it is a salt formed, when the strong acid, it is not strong base, it is weak base. This ammonium chloride is formed from the strong acid hydrochloric acid and the weak base ammonium hydroxide. It is formed from the weak base ammonium hydroxide. If I want to know whether the given salt is acidic or basic or neutral, if I want to know, what we need to do, all the salts are neutral. All the salts are electrically neutral. What it means electrically neutral? They have equal number of positive charges and equal number of negative charges. Suppose if I take calcium sulfate, 2 plus 2 minus, so plus minus equal. Suppose I take sodium chloride, plus minus equal. If I take some other salt here, copper sulfate, it is 2 plus 2 minus. So total positive charge is equal to total negative charge. So all the salts are called electrically neutral. But chemically, a salt may be neutral or acidic salt or basic salt. Acidic salt or basic. What are called neutral salts? I take a salt and dissolve the salt in water, its pH comes equal to 7. What is called acidic salt? I take water and dissolve the salt in water, it gives the pH value, it is less than 7. I take water and dissolve the salt in water, It gives pH value greater than 7. How to find out whether a salt is acidic, basic or neutral? We can go for, here I take an example, sodium chloride. Acidic salt, I can go for an example, ammonium chloride. For this acidic salt, I take ammonium chloride. Basic salt, I take an example here for basic salt. What salt I can take here? Basic salt, strong base and weak acid. I can go for here sodium acetate salt. To know how we say a salt is neutral, acidic or basic, you split this and add OH part to this and H part to this. You see what are the acids and bases I am getting. If I get strong acid and strong base, such type of salts are called neutral. Strong acid, strong base. Suppose I dissociate this. What will happen? I get ammonium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid. Ammonium hydroxide and hydrochloric acid. So forming ammonium hydroxide is a weak base and HCl is a strong acid. So in between these two, which one dominates? Strong acid dominates. So it has here acidic property, this salt. Basic, I can go for this. Here it splits, it is minus. Here H plus OH minus. What happened? Sodium hydroxide, acetic acid. But acetic acid is weak acid. Sodium hydroxide is strong base. So it shows what property? It is basic property. With this, we complete today class. Right. Thanks for watching my class.